everyone. For those who don't know me, I'm Kat. I'm a wife, a homeschool mom, and an avid reader. It's Editing Cat here, and I just want to let you know that throughout this video, you are going to hear shrieks of giggling in the background. You are not going crazy. My daughter and husband were wrestling in another room with the door closed, and it still traveled through. It took me a couple minutes when I was editing. I thought I was losing my mind, so I thought I would give you foreknowledge. There are shrieks of laughter in the background of my video, not necessarily outside of your house. We have just finished October, and I had so much fun during October, rolling as I went for Spookoplathan and reading all the scary thriller slash horror slash mystery books that I did read. Of the books I read a few physical, but mostly I read digital books. Part of this was because I had access to them right away. And part of it was that I wasn't going to purchase some of these books just because I was intending to only read them once. There were a few books that either I knew I would read again, or that I had to purchase. I've got hair in my glasses, sorry. That I had to purchase because they did not have a copy in my library, in my sister's library, in Kindle Unlimited. So I was going to have to purchase the book anyway. So I went ahead and bought the physical copies, or copy of the one book that I did purchase during the month. So let's kind of go over some of my stats. I have Storygraph pulled up. I read 9 books, plus I'm in the middle of another one. So for October, I read 2,835 pages, plus, because I don't have this one recorded in, plus 85 pages in another. So that puts it at, if I do math real quick, 2,920 pages. So it was definitely a lot of fun. 2 of the books that I read were under 200 pages, but the majority of them were between 300 and 499 pages. All of them were fiction, because that's just how October rolls. 6 of them were considered horror. These are not going to add up to 9 or 10 just because some of the genres overlap. There was 1 children's, 1 middle grade, 1 young adult, 1 classic, 1 romance, 4 that had mysteries in them. Of my book breakdown, I read two. Oops, I just closed the wrong thing. Sorry, I'm double checking. I believe I just read 2 physical books. Yes, I read 2 physical books and then 1, 2, 3 audio. So the other, what was that, 5? The other 5 that I started during October were digital books. So let's look at the physical books I read, and I'll kind of give a brief, very brief, what my feelings were on them, and then I'll jump into some of my favorite of the other books. So we did read Agatha Christie's The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. This is definitely a 5-star read. I had so much fun. I was not expecting the twist in it. Yeah. So, awesome book. It is the 4th one in publication order, but like it's the 19th or 20th, maybe even further than that if you go by timeline. So, lots of fun. Was not expecting what Agatha Christie did, but had a great time and definitely looking forward to reading it with my high schoolers next year in British literature. The other physical book that I read was Come Out, Whatever You Are by Catherine Foxfield. This is a new to me author. I needed a book that featured a game. And so this one, it's a reality game show, and they are trying to outlast each other in this haunted caves. Had a really good time with it. There were a few moments where I definitely felt like some things were hokey. And there were parts where I thought other things were happening than what did happen, or that the book was going other ways. Had a great time with it though. 4.5 stars. A great introduction into this author, Catherine Foxfield. So, jumping into my digital books and audiobooks, I read 3 Darcy Coates books, or Darcy Coates books. I love Darcy Coates. I definitely, sorry, grabbing my tea. I definitely understand the hype with her and why so many people enjoy her, including my sister every time I turn around. Um, if she doesn't know a book to suggest for her birthday, she normally will give me a Darcy Coates title that she does not own. And after this month, I definitely understand why. All 3 books were amazing. I did read Hunted. I read The Haunting of Ashburn House and Secrets in the Dark. Secrets in the Dark is the 2nd book in a trilogy that I've been reading for almost a year now. The Black Winter trilogy. Really enjoying it, having a great time with that series. Of the 3, though, I think that my favorite was Haunting of Ashburn House. I was not expecting some of the twists that happened in it, but I don't think you can go wrong with any Darcy Coates as long as you are okay with horror. The book that surprised me the most on looking back was Lindsay Curry's What Lies in the Woods. This book my sister recommended when I got a book set in the woods. And had I known or had I realized who the author was, I don't know that I would have enjoyed it as much. Last Halloween, I started reading a lot of horror books, kind of burnt myself out on them. And the last one I had read was Lindsay Curry's Scritch Scratch. Um, and there was so much in it that reminded me of stuff I had already seen in movies, specifically in a Disney show called So Weird. Um, that as I was reading it, it fell a little flat for me. Um, but my daughter read it. I DNF'd it last October, gave it a second chance, I think in February of this year, and kept, so I finished it, and it was an okay book, um, but it just wasn't exactly my cup of tea. But had I realized that when I read What Lives in the Woods, I think it would have tainted my enjoyment of it. I had an amazing time with What Lives in the Woods. It was just this great um, book, and the writing is phenomenal. There aren't the kind of skips to the plot that I have complained about in the past with middle grade. So I just had an awesome time with it. Um, I The only book that kind of was for me was Goosebumps. Um, when the scarecrows walk at midnight. I didn't not like it, but I definitely understand now why they didn't that they weren't favorites of teachers to recommend to their students to keep them into reading. It's one that you kind of read one and you've read most of them. Um, but it wasn't horrible. If you have a struggling reader, it's probably a good choice for them. But it was one that just for me, it was a cotton candy pick. I picked it for the candy corn. I think I did the candy corn on that one. Lighthearted, sweet book. And it definitely fulfilled that prompt. So, and then that kind of leaves me with my last book. I am currently reading, what is the name of this book? Oops. Oh. I am currently reading Tastes Like Candy. I'm 85 pages in it. It's supposed to be about a 4-hour read. I was sure on Sunday that I would have finished it by Tuesday. But it did not happen. And that's okay. I had a great time, or I'm having a great time with it, but I can definitely see myself after this enjoying a lot more um, happy books without all the horror elements for the rest of the year. Um, I definitely am looking forward to December, where I'm going to pull out a lot of Christmassy reads and romances because why not? So, October was a successful reading month for me. 9.5 books, or well, 9.25 books read during October, and then I definitely am going to count Taste Like Candy as an October book since it was part of Spookoplathan. But I had an awesome time. Um, if you joined in Spookopalathon, let me know in the comments how your reading went. If you just have some horror suggestions for next year, throw those in the comments as well. I don't know exactly what I will do next October for um, a readathon, but I know that I will probably do something like this, like I did this year, where I read lots of horror during the month. But that's all I have, guys. So I will see you next time.